You think you know how to communicate? You don't. Every single moment your body is screaming messages you don't even realize, and most of the time it's broadcasting weakness. Let me take you inside the most powerful communication system you will ever possess, which is of course your body. Imagine you're walking into a room commanding attention without saying a single word, not because of your size, not through your volume, but through pure calculated presence. I want to talk about the biological truth. Our bodies are prehistoric communication machines. Long before language even existed, our ancestors communicated through body. Movement, posture, subtle muscle tensions. Every twitch, every glance, every breath is a signal. When you walk into a space, you are not just entering a room. What you're doing is you're sending a complete psychological profile. Your spine's alignment, the weight distribution of your steps, the angle of your chin. These aren't just physical attributes. They're a manifesto of your internal state. So I want to talk about the hormonal hijack. Here's something they don't teach you in school. Your physical posture does not just reflect your mental state, it creates it. 2 minutes. That is all it takes to rewire your body's biochemical response. I want you to expand your chest, put your shoulders back, take up space. Studies show that what happens when you do this is your testosterone surges, your cortisol, the stress hormone, plummets, and your entire neural network begins to recalibrate because your body does not know the difference between performance and reality. Form confidence long enough, and confidence becomes your default state. And I want to do a bit of a celebrity breakdown on this and actually analyze how the masters do it. Let's take Tom Holland as a prime example. He is an extremely authentic communicator. It's one of the reasons he's done so well in the acting industry. Watch Tom Holland in any interview. He's not just talking, he's a living, breathing communication ecosystem. His hands don't just move, they narrate, oftentimes with open palms facing upwards, a universal signal of vulnerability and honesty. When he's excited, you can see his whole entire body becomes a storytelling instrument. He takes up space without aggression and he communicates without dominating. And I want you to understand that it's not about being big, it's about being authentic. Every gesture is connected to a genuine emotion. So these gestures that he's doing aren't just a display of some kind of performance, but it's just pure, raw communication. And I want to take Daniel Craig and his calculated masculinity. Daniel Craig doesn't just walk into a room, he recalibrates the entire energy spectrum. Every movement is a calculated chess move, whether it looks like it or not. Minimal, precise, but loaded with potential energy. Watch how he enters a scene. For example, pay attention to how he's not a big guy. He doesn't have the highest appeal face. But watch how he walks in. Chest slightly forward. Chin is level. Movements are economical. He's not trying to oppress. He's communicating immediate potential threat. His body says more in stillness than what most people say in entire conversations. Now this is a delicate art. To the untrained eye, it is probably hard to pinpoint exactly what is different about that versus anyone else walking into a room. But the more you can become familiar with the fact that things like a raised eyebrow or a subtle head tilt, they're not just movements, they're psychological declarations. Another prime example, Damon Salvatore. Forget all of the vampire mythology that goes along with the show and his character. Damon Salvatore is an absolute master in controlled, dangerous calm. When he sits down, he's not just occupying a chair, but he actually owns the entire spatial reality around him. It sounds ridiculous. There is no doubt when an audience sees him do so, something different is happening inside of their brain than watching a regular guy just sit down. And you don't know it, but when you watch it, your brain is subconsciously analyzing every single subtle physical change and signal that he's giving out. One arm draped casually, legs slightly spread, back slightly reclined. Every position screams, I'm so comfortable because I know I'm dangerous. And his micro expressions are a language in themselves. A slight smirk, a calculated glance. These aren't just facial movements, they are psychological manipulation tools. And to everyone who watched the show and found him attractive, congratulations, you were manipulated by his charm. And believe me, it was intentional. And it's not just from the way he looks. And I want to stress, this is not just about looking confident. This is about redesigning your whole entire life trajectory. In your career, body language will determine 93% of how you're perceived. Promotion, your leadership potential, your negotiation power, 93% of your perception comes from your body language. In your social world, attraction itself is 80% non-verbal. If you're worrying about your pickup lines before you're even worrying about your physical presence, you've got your priorities switched up. the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you occupy space. That is your real dating profile. And I want to actually talk about my personal transformation and my own personal experiment with Damon Salvatore. I'm gonna get real with you for a second, because these aren't just theoretical strategies. This is a blueprint I've personally weaponized. When I first saw Damon Salvatore, I must have been like 15, 16, I analyzed everything about his magnetic charm and presence. A complete psychological deconstruction of the character himself and why he was so magnetic. Yeah, I get he looks great, but there was something more than that. It seemed like every single girl who watched the show just instantly fell in love with him, despite him having quite an ugly character in the beginning. When I watched it, it became clear. Every subtle movement, every calculated glance, every smirk, and I personally began to implement it. And you know what's crazy? When I looked like this, people started telling me that they saw similarities between me and Damon. That is not BS, I'm being real with you right now. They were saying I give off such Damon vibes. And the way I was interacting with people and the way they were interacting with me evidently changed when I started manifesting this type of persona. I didn't have to fundamentally change anything about what I said. It was more of a case of how I said it and how I carried myself. Confident, nonchalant, leaned back, shoulders back, relaxed, but with a confident, smoldering smirk, intense eye contact when you look at someone, and understanding how to capture a smirk made so much difference. It wasn't about looking like him at all. It was about capturing his energy and his presence through my actions. And it goddamn worked. So let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the celebrities I've discussed are attractive, but attraction is not just a binary equation of your physical features. Take Daniel Craig and Tom Holland. They are not some mythical PSL gods. What makes them magnetic is not some genetic lottery. It's deliberate maintenance and masterful body language. Look closer. They are not model perfect. They're well groomed, they're physically maintained, they're fit, they are hygienic. But more importantly, they all understand the crucial truth. Body language is the amplifier. And while it is an amplifier, it's not a miracle worker. If you show up somewhere looking like you've been living under a bridge, there's no amount of body language that's gonna save you. But if you meet the baseline of physical presentation, you're groomed, you've got pretty good skin, you've got a great physique, you know, the things you can control, body language becomes your ultimate multiplier. It's not about being the most beautiful person in the room, it's about being the most present, the most intentional, and the most alive. Your body is a communication instrument, and like any instrument, it needs tuning. So this isn't a quick fix. Don't treat it like one. This is a lifestyle redesign. Practice in front of a mirror. Record yourself. Take the time to analyze professional communicators. Maybe ones that you could see yourself playing into. Because your body is not just your vessel, it's your communication weapon. And understanding how to utilize it will take you further than you know. Every gesture is a statement, every movement is a choice. You master your body, or you become mastered by it. Best of luck, gang. Peace out.